Hey everybody, this is Edujo and welcome to another video in my series on Python and specifically while loops. Today we're going to mix it up a little bit and we're going to solve the following problem. So here we're going to ask the user to continuously enter a number until the user enters the escape key P. So now we're going to mix the integers and the string. But we're also going to print the total. So if they print 1, 2, 3, it must add up 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on, and then print the total, which in that case will be 6. So that is what we're going to attempt. So let's put our basic framework in. So they're going to ask for a number. So I'm just going to say num. Remember, we always declare variables, but this time I'm going to enter num as a blank string because we're going to have to compare whatever we enter to a string called P. So I start off with a blank, and then I'm going to go into my while loop, and we're going to say while num is not equal to P. So while num is not equal to P, we want to continuously enter a number. So we're going to ask the user for the number. So we want to say num, and we're going to say input, and we're going to say enter a number. Enter a number. And I put my little space there. So that's the first thing we want to check. And then we also want to make sure that it is being compared. So let me just see what will happen if I run this now. Okay, let's run it. It should be it should continuously run until I put something in to escape it, which is P. So I'll just say E, R, T, U, whatever. I'll do all of that until I say a P. Oop, that wasn't a P, that was OP, and then it comes out. So that works. That works perfectly. Let me just do this one at the top, which I forgot to do again. So I'm just going to say num and string. I'll just do that, num and string combined, or let's say integer and string is probably better. Int and string, integer and string, integer and string. Cool, so we know the basic construct of our while loop now works, but we haven't had any integers yet. So let's see, what will we do first? We need to do some sort of a comparison. So we're going to have to compare it, but also the second part is we want a total. So that we need some sort of a variable to hold that value. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to say total, and that's going to be equal to 0 initially, and as we go through we want to add each number to the next number and so on. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say total equals total plus num, which will give us an error message. I will run it anyway so you can see what the error message is, but let me just quickly explain what I'm trying to do here. So if I go here, we know the basic construct, but here we had a total that's set to 0, and what we want to do, we want to take that 0, whatever the total was there, and whatever we add to it, whatever we entered, we want to add to it so that we store the new value in here. That is our purpose of what we're trying to do. But we're going to run into a problem because we are going to mix our string and we're going to mix that with an integer, which is that one, and we should get an error to that effect. So let me run that and just show you what I mean. So we enter a number, I'm going to say 12, and now we run into a problem. If I just move this one so you can just see, I'll just move it across like that, and then you can see here that there's an unsupported operand type for int and string, and it happens specifically when we want to do that line, which is total sorry, total plus num, where total is an integer and num is a string. So that is the bit we want to solve right now. So if you ever run into this problem there, it's because you're mixing strings and integers. So how do we fix that? So we can't well, I guess we can change it here. We can cast whatever we enter here. We can cast that to, whoops, we can cast that to integer. Let's run that and see what happens. So I'm going to say 12, 23, 40. So that's accepting that. So that's perfect. It is accepting that. We don't know yet if it's actually working properly because we haven't entered the letter P yet. I'm going to try that now, P, and there we run into a problem again. So that worked sort of for a time, but this time it says, oops, let me just make that slightly smaller and make it fit in a little bit more. We got the, again, the problem was when we entered it, and obviously it compares it to whatever P is, it compares it to P, and it says invalid literal for int. So it's not happy with that int. So let's fix that then. So it worked to a degree, but not quite. So let's take that out, and then I'll show you where the best place is to put it, and it is right here. We cast it right here. So then we have an integer. We change that to an integer. We store it as an integer, and then it will hopefully work a little bit better, because remember that one is not actually storing or comparing total, it's comparing num. That's the one it's comparing. So what we need to look for now is, does that num that we have there, will it remember this one or this one, the int or the string? You can probably work it out already. It will only remember the string, because the int casting here gets stored as a total over there. So it should work. Let's have a quick look. So I'm going to press F5, and then we're going to check it. So I'm going to enter, I'll do 10, and then I'll do 15, which gives us 25. Oh, we're not adding up yet, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to see if it works. And then I do a P, and we got another problem here. What is the problem now? We've got this one over there. So how will we fix the same problem? The same problem. So it did remember that one, which is interesting. So how are we going to solve this problem, you ask? Well, let's have a look again. Remember, we are comparing to see whether or not the user entered the P. So let's have a look at something else. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put an if statement in here, and we're going to say if num is not equal, where's my equal sign? Not equal to P. So if that is true, let me just bring this here. If that is true, then we can see what's going on. So if num is not equal to P, then we're going to do total equals total plus 1. So let's run this one now and see what happens. Maybe this will solve it. Let's have a try. So we're going to do 12, 32, 34. Doesn't really matter what numbers we put in. And then we're going to put a P, and this, we say, oh, this time it stopped. This time it stopped. So that works perfectly. So what happened here? So because we are checking whether or not num is equal to P, so what we are saying, well, it's not equal, we're going to keep on entering, but if it's equal, then we're going to get out of this. And we're going to continuously, obviously, add this up. So now we have the problem. Oh, I pressed enter, sorry, instead of entering a number. Let me try that again. So now we have the issue. We have 12. I'll just say, oh my days, I'm pressing enter again. Right, let me try that again. F5, 12, enter, 12, enter, P, enter. There we go. So that does work. I wonder if it'll work with something else, you ask. So let's have a look quickly. I'm going to try a different escape key. So I'm going to do something like that, and then a Q. And then you can see, nope, it doesn't care, it doesn't work, it's not what we want, because the only one we were interested in was the P. So that is that. Now I want to get to the last part, and that is to print the total. At this point we have not printed any total. We haven't printed any total. So now we're going to say print, we're going to print total, and I want to make it look a little bit nicer, so I'm just going to say the following. I do want a space there. I'm just going to say total. I'll just do the running total like that. That should work, and that should come through as we are typing it. So let's have a quick look. So I'm going to say F5, and then I'm going to run it, enter a number. I'll keep it simple, say 10, and you can see the total is 10. I'm going to add 12, that should give us 22. I'll do 8, which will give us 30, and then I'm just going to do P to stop the program. Perfect, so we have that. But I want to show you something else now while we're doing this. You can see this is sort of a running total. It's printing as we go, and we can actually see what happens. But what if this was not inside the while loop? If it was outside the while loop like that, I'll just enter it there. Remember what I've said in a previous video, that if you have the tab space, all the code inside the tab space belongs to, oops, my mouse just ran across the screen, it all belongs to the while loop. Now we've taken, because there's no tab space in front of the print, there's no tab space there, so that does not belong to the while loop. So that's just what I want to quickly explore. So what's going to happen? I'll press F5, I'm going to run the program, I'm going to enter the number 10 again. See, there's no total now. Then 12, that's 22, plus 8 is 30, and then I'm going to put my escape key, and then we still get the total of 30. So this is one of the things you could use. If I just tab that twice to bring it in under the, actually I'll just do it once like that and see if that does the same thing. It's still inside the while loop, so let's just have a look and see what happens there. 12, 10, this time we get a running total as well. And then I'm going to do P, and we still get the total. We still get the total of 30. So if we put it one further, it should give us the same as before. I'll just do 10 this time, 12 and 8, and I'll put P, and then you can see we don't have a final total afterwards. Okay, so this is how you can use this is as follows. You can run it like this, where you can see the total as it gets added up, or if you want to keep to the scenario that we have there, you can just put it all the way to the left, so it's out of the while loop, and then you just see the total. But if you want to make sure that your maths is working correctly, I suggest you start off by putting it inside the while loop, because then you can see if this actually works, and then when you're finished, you can just go backspace and go out of it, so you can see that the whole situation works. So this was slightly more complicated. We ran into, well, I actually created some problems to show you that we can't use the int there because it has to compare it eventually with that. We cast it to an integer here, it still didn't work, and then we had to put in an if statement just to get rid of it. So it's a little bit more complicated, but here you can see one of the ways that we solved this problem. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in a next video. Goodbye.